Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast Club. My name is Darren Hancock and I'm your host today. We're looking at the US Tech live tape reading, and it looks like a whole lot of nothing right now. We're going to start off with the higher time frames, work our way down. Let's look at the weekly first. Where are we headed? Well, there's that upper objective for the weekly. I'm looking like this fair value gap up high. We're still inside this order block here. Right now we've come up to the midpoint, rejected off of it back, and we're kind of just sitting here. Then we come back to the top of this candle here. We pull back deeper into this range to re-engage this order block. We're sitting right on top of that one right now, so really between here and here with a higher objective above us up here. So let's go down to something that's a little more tangible. We've just been kind of rocking back and forth here, kind of sitting inside this daily fair value gap between here and here. Daily fair value gap, we're kind of sitting on there. They see how the bodies are respecting the boundaries of the lower border of that fair value gap. So the question again comes back to what we looked at on the weekly. Does this come back and retest the order block on the weekly, which is back in here? First PD array we've got is down here. Then the top of your fair value gap on your next downside daily fair value gap. Then you get all the levels inside that we can talk about when and if we get there. So we've got these little probes coming down, kind of just stuck on the edge of that fair value gap. We're working the lower half of the fair value gap on the daily. Looks like we're still sitting in here. So unless we make a break to the upside or downside, there's not a heck of a lot I can really see going on in here. Let's look at the hourly. Might have to move to a different time frame. So here's the edge of that daily fair value gap. Looks like we're coming down, just tagging the edge of it quite nicely. There's a lot of liquidity down in here. So right now we're inside this range that was created between late yesterday near close and the London low. So we're coming back into here. So if you pull a fib tool from this high to this low, 50%, we came back, hit that. Now we're just kind of staying in the low discount portion of that range. We've got a small little price of fair value gap right in here, a little SIBI. That's just above the 62%, so you're getting into the optimum trade entry. We also have this, did it break that? Yeah, breaker here. Last up close candle before a run below an old low. There's a swing point here. And that just got below it. So if we do come back up, that's my eye goes to this little portion here, and higher time frame, working that upper portion of the daily fair value gap that we were looking at. So we're just kind of bouncing off of here right now. We're in a nice discount, so nothing to really play off of here other than if you're working your daily fair value gap and you want to go longer, stay in it for a longer period of time. This may be an entry with your stop loss sitting below here, preferably here if you're looking at a long-term daily. If we take out this low, then we're looking to get away from this fair value gap on the daily, I think, and start heading back to that lower one. So that would be where I'd be looking for if you're going to break this low, this short-term low. We have a higher low, lower low, higher low. So we have a small swing, not that we're actually predicting the bottom of this, but looks like we have over the last 4 days or 3 days, 1, 2, 3, 4 days, we've got a low that's formed in here. So this may be the maybe the bottom of it. Not that we actually want to predict that, but this could be the key off spot to go higher with your stop loss sitting down here if you want to stick in this long term. And I made a couple of little tweaks to the old bot there yesterday, so may try those out. I think the upside objective for me is going to be sitting in here today for a quick snipe. And we're already at New York Open now, so let's go down into, let's do a 15-minute first. Ugh, it's a mess. It's not doing anything. There's just too much chatter in here. There's the little Sibby we're looking for up the top there. You want to grab a nice little chunk of pips. Look at the midpoint of this candle here, this wick. Let me get this guy out of here now. We take this wick here. Okay. As soon as it goes off my screen, it starts to... There's 50%, so kind of look at that zone there as a potential run to take out the liquidity on this side if we want to go higher. Keep in mind your stop loss still a bit down here if you're going for a higher time frame. We do have one little piece of fair value gap down in here still. See that? And this is on the 15 minutes, so we don't want it being blue. Let's make it yellow or something. So if we do run that low, we still have a lower low, higher low on the other side, and we'd still be within that range. So kind of keep an eye on this area down here for 7 or 8 o'clock Canada time, which is 2 hours New York. So that'll be 10 o'clock New York time. So we're looking for something to kind of run out an old low or an old high or fair value gap. We're looking for a new fair value gap to form after that, and then hopefully get in on that. So we're going to look for some downside objectives. Let's draw this over here. That's still good. There's our 50%. Just keep an eye on that. 50% of that wick. Boy, we create a nice little equal bottoms here. The low on that candle is 56.65. Low on this candle right now is 56.90. So just slightly higher than that. Low is 56.65, 56.65, and 56.90. So we haven't taken out those lows just yet. So this would be a nice quick stop run. We could run down into this wick 50%, take out some of this liquidity here and start to move back into that daily fair value gap. Then we're going to be looking back at this quick little range here. Keeping in mind you got order blocks that we've bounced off of already. We've come back up to this small cluster of 1 hour candle order block. We've come down to, now watch how it comes down here. Lowest body down close candle. Starts banging off of that. Then we have start to use this as our little high. Comes back in, hit it, rejection block. Now we're running out of our little PD arrays here. We've already come down to the midpoint of this candle. That's your threshold. You're back up to the threshold of this one. Rejection block. Now we've kind of run out of our arrays here. So it's got to make a move, right? It's got to start picking a direction. Or it just kind of bounces back and forth. If it creates another little one, it'll be between here and it just goes sideways. Just taking out liquidity on the top and the bottom and just staying inside that range till a news event happens. Let's look for what's going on in the news. Forex Factory. Let's go here. Oh, I'm right there already. So Bank of Canada rate opens today at 10 o'clock. So their Bank of Canada's came out now. And the US ISM Service PMI. That's a high impact news event. And that comes out in 20 minutes at 10 o'clock. G20 meetings this week on Saturday, Sunday, G20. Royal Bank of Australia Governor Lowe speaks. That's a medium impact news event in Australia. Anybody's into that stuff? Aussie dollar. What's Aussie up to? Well, we have a little consolidation, a breakout, fair value gap, come back down into the top of the consolidation, and then we're slowly starting to move away. So if this order block holds on the Australian dollar, given the Australian dollar trade balance report that's coming out tonight, and we keep going up, you're looking at the rest of this fair value gap here, these order blocks. So Australian dollar looks like we could have a, did these guys run this? What's the low in that candle right there? The low is 63,573. 63,576. So this 3 little pipettes below that, relative equal lows. Chances are they're not going to leave that untouched on the 30-minute. What's the hourly looking like? Little consolidation. Quickly take out the lows, run back up. We broke above that fair value gap. This is what I like to see. I like to see a body get above it. You come back, you're inside it. Bodies are respecting it. You see how bodies respect that right there? Then we're back inside it again. So what I want to see in here now is just a big acceleration above this high. Get into here, come back, find some support at the top of this fair value gap here, and then start really pushing for the, because that'll create the order block that you want to key off of to start driving up higher to higher time frame or higher objectives. Where's our guy? Did he come down to 50%? Nope. But he did run out the lows. Low is, nope, he didn't. Still hasn't come down that low. So we have equal lows here, relative equal lows. A lot of liquidity sitting in here. So I still think it might have a good run, one more run down into here before we have a surge up. I don't want to create too much clutter on our screen. What's Euro up to? Yeah, we're kind of sideways right now. Overall, we're still down, bearish. What are we looking at for the daily? Down to the threshold of this candle, inside this guy right here. A continuation on the downside. So far, the daily is giving us a little fair value gap that's kind of starting up here. Won't be confirmed until this day ends. So what would be nice is for this to kind of just hold here for the day. A new opening, come back up and just trigger the edge of this, leave it open, or the midpoint. It could actually come back up and tag this low right here, leave a little piece open, and continuation on the downside and start running for liquidity down here. I like these little price imbalances and that down in here. That's the daily. Hourly, what does hourly look like? So if we're saying it's going to come back, it's not a fair value up yet, but you got to kind of okay, so when you look at that on the hourly, you think when it comes back up into here, you have to start squeezing this thing tighter, because that's what the daily fair value gap that's presently, we won't call it fair value gap, we just call the daily open, where price hasn't been rebalanced there yet today, has to come all the way back to here to close in yesterday's open. So we've had yesterday afternoon for me, that would have been 3 or 4 o'clock, that would have been in the evening sometime. we're looking at this return to this order block, bottom of the creates that little gap for the day. And we've come back down. So this one's not completely filled in yet down here. So we might get one more little pop down into this order block, fill this fair value gap, and run back up. If not, if it does stay open, then we're looking for it to run up in the rest of the way into closing in that space between yesterday's downside delivery and today's upside delivery. We have a small little fair value gap sitting in here on the 1 hour as an upside objective. You'd want to see something forming in here, like just trying to find something that, yeah, this, I'd like to see in the discount portion of this get back into here first before you start pushing for the higher stuff. Because if you look at the range for the day so far, we're in the premiums. You don't want to pay for a premium. It'd come all the way down here and then run back up again. Because we're still not at 10 o'clock yet. So there's a potential for us to come back into here. Yeah, that's filled. Come back into here and then push back up for the highs. We'll have a look at that in the next few minutes. Now let's have a look back here. This guy's working his way back down again. Sorry, I don't call it like Michael calls it. He's much more animated. He's been doing it for a lot more years. I'm still pretty rookie when it comes to actually talking on the mic, kind of sharing my thoughts. So I apologize for any like pauses. We're just looking right here now. There's nothing really to jump in on. I don't see any major open possibilities to grab anything here right now. We're just going to kind of keep an eye on this. And we're checking the time. So we've got 10 more minutes to see what happens here at 10 o'clock. Do we run these lows? Take some liquidity? Do we stay inside that wick and then start to move up? So what I'd like to see is I'd like to see it come down to about 50% of this wick. Start to break above here, create a fair value gap, get in on that, and start running for higher objectives if we're going to run up for the rest of the day. If we've formed the low of the week in Wednesday, or do we run down into that little spot that we've noticed back here, which is the last portion of the fair value gap on the 15-minute. If we grab that, then create a fair value gap that we want to get in on for a silver bullet entry. That's what I'm kind of waiting to see what sets up here in the next 10 to 15 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes maybe. Oh, Michael's tweeting, note how the price is being held in the narrow range since London's low. Damage is coming at 10 o'clock. So let's wait and see what's going on. He says violence as expected. That's funny. You're a good guy, Mike. Now, if this runs the upside guy, that small little pocket, I'm out. I have no idea right now where it would go. That's the draw. Here to here is pretty much all I would have grabbed for this short little snipe. We've got 8 minutes left, so we'll see what happens off of this news release. Get this off of here for now. We'll go back to it if it comes back in there. How close an eye have I got there? So that's the line we're looking for it to touch. If it does come back, does that hold support? So we're just kind of waffling around right on the bottom of that fair value gap we mentioned on the daily. We got 6 more minutes. Let's have a little peek at some of the other ones. Gonna get my bot off here. Remove. Sometimes I have to open up a new. Get my new day opening gaps, new week opening gaps. Get rid of that window. Looks like we're just held up here waiting for this news event. Next 3 minutes. Not doing anything. Not doing anything. We're going to remove that. We're just going to sit and watch. Keep your powder dry, as it were. 2 more minutes. Let's see what's going on the 1 minute level. So we're really going to watch this thing dance around here. Boy, that's been in a tight range, eh, since London's low. That's been holding pretty tight. That's just the 1 minute. So the edge of our higher time frame. I think it was the hourly we're looking at, that one, or 15 minute. Yeah, 15 minute up there. So I like that spot right there on the 15 minute. And we're looking at that guy there. So here to here, we'll keep just looking at those areas. Not that I'd ever make an entry in here anywhere, but I like this one to run out the lows. So here we go, 10 o'clock. There's our 50%. We're through that. Now we're touching the edge of our gap. We ran that low, ran all this. We're still above that piece there. It's amazing how precise it is. It just lands right square on top of that fair value gap. But is it going to blow it out? And do we go down to those lower, that little short-term swing point that we talked about? Is this going to hold now? Because remember, our swing point is low, higher low, higher low. So does this still hold price? So is this 50% point, here we're getting into it now, does that 50% of that wick hold price and we start to now move back up? So let's look at the 5. There, we dipped into our little range there. Almost cleaned it up. We're just a fraction short. That's one. So let's look for what our setup was going to be something like, here's the fill of our, okay, so it's through our gap now. It's a good drive through. All right, so we take out this low. We're looking for return to that daily fair value gap we talked about. Yep. Okay. So readjust your thinking. So now we're looking for a return back into this area here on the daily. So we switch our mindset now to a run back to this. We have liquidity below here and then below here, and obviously looking back, keep your eye on this area over here now. That small little pocket of daily fair value gap, or sorry, hourly fair value gap. Did we run the low? No, we didn't. We're just short of running that low. Minute. What do we got in here in a 5 minute? Now I'd like to kind of see another little gap forming in here and get some support off of this as an inversion fair value gap, which is actually right here. It's a small guy on the 5 minute. This is the 15 minute one, obviously. So I'd like that to create a little inversion fair value gap. We're breaking market structure to the downside now. Now you want to see this kind of a portion of this stay open, create a fair value gap in here, and start to push down for our lower objectives on the daily. I'm going to shuffle this down to the 5 minute now. Let's keep an eye on that piece. Again, objective for us today is to retest this or dip into here somehow. Get to the edge of that, unload a portion of your trade, move to break even, and see if we start dipping further into here. So this is where you'd look for a way to get on the trade. On the 1 minute, which we're looking at on the 1 minute. Now this may have created the inversion fair value gap on the 15 minute. Let me just go over here and have a look at that for a second. So if we looked at here to here, and there to there on the 15 minutes. So what we're looking for is there something in here that on the 1 minute, this was a inversion fair value gap that we could have got on to go short. So let's just go back to the 1 minute now, have a look at this, and look at that. So that was the bottom of we went through it, we came back inside it, and continued on the downside. So we actually retested the top of that fair value gap. So body broke through it, we came back up, slightly overran it, but we did come back into it here to go short. So there would have been your inversion fair value gap entry. So let's go back to our 5 minute and see if we can see something else going on here. So we want 1 minute. That's our 5 minute return. So basically retesting this order block again. To go short. And we're still looking for the top of the one, two, yeah, I like that one. This is your silver bullet entries. There's your first one for your short. I like to, let's see if we can't get back into that second one. So here's your entries here, 1, 2, 3 for your short, and you're trying to get for down here. So you're looking for 24. That's quite a lot of handles there. How many handles is that? If you would have gone in here right now, you're looking at 65 handles. I like this here. If we get back to this order block, it's going to touch there. Let's go with our demo. Let's go short on one here. And then we'll go short on another one here. And our final one will go here. So we're looking for stop loss will go about here. And our goal, our objective is here. I'll put another one in here, and I'll put another one at the bottom of that, and all my stop losses will sit above here. Because if this little inversion fair value gap doesn't hold and we blow through it, then I'm wrong. Or we've got a deeper retracement in store. Again, this is demo. Silver bullet entry, there's 5 handles right there. 405. That's 5 handles. Click. If you're into 5 handles, you're done. Right there. Depending on your leverage. I'm just going small here. This is just for demonstration purposes only. Now, because this is the little swing low, one of my rules is you take a portion off. You want to take a little portion off at that low, just because you never know if that's, yes, this is our objective, the top of that fair value gap. But always pay yourself a piece. You don't have to get greedy and grab it all. I wonder if I drop my bot in here, if it'll help me take a portion of that off. let's do this and see if this so we feed the wolf. As it takes a piece out of there. Feed the wolf. Just test it to be sure. Well, it does. Okay, great. Keep an eye on that here. I just clicked it a bunch of times, took off a bunch of percentages. So feed the wolf. We're going to see that 1.4 or 0.14. Yeah, $6. All right. I don't mind if it comes back in. We'll take 2 more loads in here, one here, one here. Again, stop loss goes above that for wrong. Then we get a deeper retracement than expected. I like to see that inversion fair value gap hold price that we looked at on the 5-minute. If it does come back up. If it doesn't, then we've got our first silver bullet entry. Take a piece off here. See, this is a good example that if you don't take something off, these are equal lows. That if it does run all the way back up here and take you out, and you didn't take a piece for yourself, you cut your losses or move to break even. Whatever way you like to manage your trade. If you're quite fearful and you like to hold your money quick, as soon as you hit that little portion there and you take a piece off, move your stop loss to break even. If it comes back, takes you out, and you want to get back in at a higher price to run these lows, that's feasible as well. Oops, I got all my buys on here. I'll take that. Oh, what a delay. Did you see that? I clicked that a long time ago. That damn server took forever. I was in profit, and then they took it. Basticles. We're going to turn that off, and then we're going to go short one there. Stop loss will go above that spot that we talked about. So we got a fair value gap to the upside. Wow, that's really delayed entry. That was a huge delayed entry. So there's the inversion fair value gap. See how it hit it perfectly? I'd like to see that whole price now. I'm going to put this guy up here as well. This is really slow today. Wow. Okay. Now I'm looking for a push down below these lows. And as soon as, if it starts to push through that right away, I'm just going to close out my trades here, because I'll be wrong. Well, this is what we called for earlier. Create that inversion, come back to it, and we've come back to it. We've entered in. So we're running our plan. Now, we'll see if the plan pans out, as it were. That's what we called for. That's what we got. So now do we get the trade we're looking for? We're right in the middle of that. See how I hit the middle of that inversion gap? It's allowed to go in there, allowed to wick in there, but we do not want to get a body above it. So far she's working out. So this is where you got to kind of look. We have a breakout above this little area here. Does this mean we're going to continue on to the upside? We get a bit, see how it's holding it? Right there at the edge of that fair value gap. So this could be one of those, you break up. We have a break in structure again, a little slight break in structure to the upside. Now we're going to start to run up. We come back, we retest this fair value gap, and we're pushing back up. So you kind of argue both sides of it. But for the sake of our trade, I'm going to keep this trade on, though it's losing validity for me now that we've already created this gap above here, and we could be returning back up into this area here. Depends on whether or not this gap holds or not. This little inversion gap. I want to see this go with some force now. Ignore this and just run right through it. Get below it, come back up, tag the edge of it, and then continue on the downside. If you get anything from these videos, Invite your friends. If you don't, yeah, that's fine too. Don't say anything. Don't be mean. Just move on. Okay, so we filled the edge of that fair value gap now. So now I want to see, start pushing through it. Get a nice little body through that, come back up, find some support at it, create a new inversion of fair value gap, and then continue to push for these lows. Ideally, that's what I'd like to see going on right now. Push through. Because now we've broken this order block here with a wick. We've come back inside it. We've come back, we've re-hit it, retested it one more time right here. We're coming back down. So we're between here and here. You see how we're starting to work through the bottom of that? That's what I like to see. Nice. Okay, so what we want to see now is come back up, retest the edge of that, and continue on the downside. Watch these here. Feed the wolf. Ow! This is already at 10, so you can't take any more than that. So now this has done its work. Back up. Tag the top of the fair value gap here. Now I want to see it with some force now. So get some legs on this thing and start moving down. We're between those, you see what I'm saying? Order block, we bang around inside them for a bit. Fair value gap, come back up, find some support at it. We came back up, ran. We dipped below it. We ran back into it. Now do we come back and retest it a couple more times? I don't mind. I just want to see this threshold here now that we've hit it. I want to see you lose this threshold and continue running these lows now. This I'm going to move to the top of my, because it shouldn't be back here retesting this now. Let's take another 10% off of that. can adjust how much percentage I can take off. Every time I say feed the wolf, I can adjust how much, 10, 20, 100. I can close out the trades if I want. Feed the wolf. There we go. So far our trade's panned out exactly as we called it. We said what we wanted to form, which is, we looked at that 5-minute inversion, and we wanted it to be the inversion fair value gap. And we took a couple of trades in there somewhere for shorts. And then we got this reversal. So we took a little bit of profit here coming down. Then we waited for this second fair value gap, is what I like to work, to start jumping in. We found some perfect support at that inversion fair value gap. So it did exactly what we were expecting. And now it's running down. Wow. The bot has actually moved us into break even now. And it's actually taken another portion off of both of them. So the bot's working great right now. So now there's zero stress on this trade. If that comes all the way back up, those will break even now. So now I'm going to take another. No, we're just going to leave it. See if our objective is hit now. So far, this is awesome. Our trade's panning out the way we wanted it to, which is good. And nobody's here to see it. Nobody's in the breakfast club this morning. But if you watch this later, hopefully you got a little something out of it. You heard about what the setup was going to be, what we're looking for. And hopefully you got a chance to look back on it now and see the logic behind what it was we were trying to wait for. The setup, our setup happened exactly as we wanted it to. So retest that fair value gap. I love it when it retests the fair value gap. I'm all right with that. If I start to lose the midpoint of that fair value gap, I'll close out the trades. I want this to continue down now. I'm okay with it retesting this level here one more time. Now that we've run these lows here, I want to see it with some energy start going now. It should not have to come back up here. This becomes the order block. Get above it. The one above that is right there. So you're really in between these two. Comes back up inside that guy. So you're banging off of this open here now and this guy here. And if you're into your 5 handles, we are well into 5 handles now. That's 90, there's 15, 20, there's 25 handles right there. Next downside objective is 15,354. 15,354. We're going to yarn the engine only. So this is a manual trade, and I had my bot take over my manual trade and manage. It's going to manage it for me now. Again, we can retest this area. Okay, we're out. Well, that was fun. We made a bit of money off of that. We took out the little portions that we were looking for. Now we've run above this. That was a nice little few pips. There's the important thing to remember here. What we just did here was you have to pay the trader. See, we took some off when we were coming down. We took some off near here, and then we got our other entry in here, and this was an objective to close, because it could have just come down, closed off there, and then left us in the dust, right? We have these equal lows. You don't usually leave those untouched. So you take a piece off, always pay yourself. Because right now, had we just left those trades on, we would have had nothing, and we'd be sitting going in a little bit of profit right now, but under the risk of this running back up into this range, or at least taking out this high and returning back into a 50% of that range that was just created here. So it's good to pay yourself. We paid ourselves. We made a couple of bucks. No big deal. The important thing is how to manage the trade. The setup that we wanted. We called for the actual candles before they happened. And they happened exactly the way we wanted them to. We wanted this to come back into this inversion on the 5-minute. And it did. Came back in perfectly. Hit the midpoint of that, which was nice. It lined up with an order block. Fair value gap, and we got our 2 entries in there. Our objectives are here and here. We unloaded a portion of it. Our bot moved us to break even, so zero stress on the trade. We've already made a bit of money. We've paid ourselves, and if it reverses on us like it did, we set an objective to, if it breaks the midpoint of this fair value gap, that we were going to start unloading. As we were, it started running up. I think the last one kind of took out a little portion for us. So what do we get for our couple of trades here? Oops. History. What the heck was this? 9, 6. What the heck's our trades? That was not our trades. Let's show our trades. This one was profitable from there to there. Then we broke even. These two were profitable here. This one was profitable from here to here. There to there, there to there. All profitables. And then the last one we took off up here, which is where our break even was for that particular trade. Why the heck they don't show in our history, I don't know. 16. Oh, there we are. These are the trades that we had. Those are the trades we did this morning. We unloaded the portions as we needed them. Made a couple of bucks. So hopefully you got something out of that. In terms of our setup is exactly what we called for and how to manage that quickly. And our bot kind of helped us out a lot today. So I hope you got something out of it. And that'll be it from me for the day. I hope you guys had a good time, even though there was no one here. If you watch this, I hope you get something out of it. And we'll see you again next week. I'm taking the rest of the week off. Going to do a little vacation. And I will be back next week. Wish you guys all the best. Have a great weekend.